Good evening. And if you're just tuning in, you are either listening to or watching live the Angel Rock on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. One of the things I just found out quite by surprise, and I will not forget to say this, and I'm very grateful, that apparently Mondays is Carnation Mondays. So they sponsor this show and all the shows after us. I want to give them a huge shout out and a huge thank you because by them sponsoring all the shows today, that's how we get to bring this great content to you because it costs money to broadcast these shows through a network. So thank you so much to Carnation. You guys check them out. Try and support them too as they support our network. And we love when people do that, just like everybody in the chat. A little bit about myself. I'm a Canadian psychic medium. I'm a crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner, spiritual teacher and mentor. I'm also a registered nurse, and I see Julie Jean Bassett in the chat. We're going to say hi to you guys in a minute. I'm still seeing, I'll say practicing, not budding, animal communicator. I'm still working on that. I'm also very well versed in near-death experiences, having studied them professionally and personally for over 40 years, and I had one as a toddler myself. I'm extremely well versed in the paranormal as well. I never went looking for it. It found me. And we are on the Travel Channel's Paranormal Survivor, Season 4, Episode 9, called Demonic Hauntings. And I think you can find it on YouTube, Netflix. There's a whole bunch of places. And if you do watch it, you're going to see a familiar face in there besides my own. Michelle DeRoche actually consulted on that episode. She is our station manager. She has Beyond the Outer Realm tomorrow, her 2-night show on Wednesdays and Thursday nights with the Outer Realm, and she's our station manager. And a little tidbit, I didn't know her back then. I do now, but I didn't back then. If you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends and family about us. There really is something for everybody on this network. It's not just all UFO and paranormal. Like today, I think earlier in the day, we have Adriana and we have a newer host. Her name, I'm sorry, I have not met her yet. They do more lifestyle and a little bit of business centered type things. Give you some advice from moms. And the network's been around for 25 plus years. So we do have multiple hosts that are broadcasting daily, 7 days a week. And when we're not broadcasting live, the archive server kicks into the last 25 plus years and randomly picks shows. So we are live 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. So check it out. We have all kinds of new shows coming too, new hosts, great show content. Before I forget, we have Kat from the Paranormal Heart. I didn't even know she was on our network. Carrie Lynn, who I'm going to mention in a minute, Shellhorn, she actually popped into our show on Thursday nights and said, oh yeah, Kat's on our network. Well, I am her guest tomorrow. We pre-recorded it already. She's posted banners for that. So check it out. We had a great paranormal conversation. And speaking of Carrie Lynn Shellhorn, who is another fellow host here on the network, a very good friend of mine, Friday night, she has Spirit Switchboard, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Her and I have a show together and it's doing so well. And I got to thank all of you out there. It's called Beneath the Hollow Moon. And tomorrow, Thursday, we're shaking things up a little bit. We are going to be talking about more notoriously known places where crime or tragic things have happened and there's documented paranormal activity. So I know we are going to be talking about the Chris Watts house. Very respectfully. We will not be dressing up for it as we usually do every week, depending on the theme of our show, just out of respect for the victims of that crime. But there is insane paranormal activity that was caught on police cameras, and they didn't even know that the mom and the 2 children were no longer alive. So be prepared for that. Also, if you want to watch us on TV, you can. We are on Roku. You go to the channel store and you're going to type in UFO space P as in paranormal. There's a drop-down list. We're about the 3rd or 4th one down. You're looking for UFO, paranormal, and United Public Radio. As well, you guys keep your eyes open. Our website is finally, I'm so happy. I know Adriana and her friend that she's brought to the network on Monday, I believe, are working on it. And I hear all kinds of amazing things are coming to it. You can still see the old, of course, my dog decides to come over. You can still see the old website it's up. And it's going to be the same address, I believe. It's uprntalkradio.com. So check that out. I hear there may even be a chat room. And who knows, we might even have a merch store coming too, which will be really cool. If you guys can't see us, you can't join the conversation. I know many of you overseas only get the show audio only, and 80% of our audience is audio only. But if you do watch, you can still head over to my Facebook profile under Lorilei Potvin, as well as LinkedIn, my YouTube channel, which is the Angel Rock. The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. We are also on the network's Facebook page, which is UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network, as well as the YouTube channel, the Twitch channel, and we are on Joe Montaldo. Got to give him a huge shout out. He's the one that owns this network and provides this great space. My dog has now decided she wants to play fetch while I'm doing this. It's under, I think, Joe Montaldo on Rumble, where I'm broadcasting from there. And we're on the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin on Instagram. So you can check that out. Sometimes it kicks out after an hour on Instagram. So we'll try and keep an eye on that because the comments are separate from here. Did I forget anything else? Let me check this out here. No, I think I told you everything. I'm going to get to Marzcia. She's been on before, and we had such a great conversation. I just need to find it here. I'm seeing all the comments you guys are putting in there, and I love it. I'm also going to add, I have joined, while I'm looking for this, I have joined the News on the Flip Side, Joe Montaldo show on Friday night with the boys. And on Saturday nights, we have the chat with the guys. And Carrie Lynn Shellhorn also joins us. So it's a lot of fun. So you guys may want to check that out as well. Okay, I know you're in here, Marzcia, so give me a sec. I know you are. There we go. Now I'm going to put my glasses on. All right. She has a very great resume, but I'm going to read it all because there's no way to cut it off. So Marzcia Techau was born in 1971, is a Master of Science in Biology, a speaker, an author, spiritual teacher, clairvoyant counselor, healer, Reiki master, and somatic experience practitioner, working with Peter Levine's somatic experience method. For the past 20 years, Marzcia has worked with a blend of scientific and spiritual understandings of life. A part of her master thesis was a healing study of plants at the University of Copenhagen. Later, she worked as a research assistant at a study of energy healings on cancer survivors at the University of Southern Denmark. She has worked as a medium and has been taking clients for 22 years. In recent years, she has worked as a teacher of healing and clairvoyance, as a writer, and has been giving talks to a broad audience. In her teaching, she talks, as well as in her book, she emphasizes the relationship between natural sciences and the spiritual world by applying new knowledge and scientific research in her dissemination of healing, and human development and spiritual practice. She also has one of her latest books. That's why we connected in the new year together, called Your Soul, Your Life, A Guide to Healing and Self-Healing. So welcome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Lots of talking. I know. Before we get into our conversation, let's say hi to everybody, because we have such a great audience that shows up here. They support many of the hosts on the network. I always tell guests, I have the best audience, and I should say UPRN does, because they are so sweet to one another, or new people that pop in. They're intelligent. They ask great questions. So we have Vet Girl 84 says, hi, everyone. Sorry, things are jumping ahead of me here. We got Z Sun Dragon, or I always say I call him by his muggle name from Harry Potter. He says, he's saying hi to everybody. It's Kevin. Let me see. That's why we got Julia Evans from the UK. Thank you for joining us very late over there. I know it's got to be about 11:30, and you're in Denmark, right? So is it like 12:30 now there for you?
It's nearly 12:30 now, so it's half midnight. So we are an hour ahead from UK.
Well, thank you for staying up late to join us.
I will. It's a pleasure.
Heidi Gall. I hope you're feeling better, Heidi. I know she had some dental surgery, so I'm glad she's here. We got Connie Martin saying hello. Hang on, let's go through. And Z-Sun saying hi to us, or Kevin, as well as everybody in the chat. Got Julie Jean Bassett. I always give Julie a huge shout out. She is an incredible animal communicator whether that's earthside or in mediumship. She has helped me with many of my own animals. If I need help with an animal that maybe I can't do something with, I will try and connect Julie with others. Just incredible. And for example, I will not name the person I connected her with recently, but their dog was looked very, very ill. Hadn't moved off their pillow, and an elderly dog. And Julie sent me a before and after picture, and the little one was laying on its pillow, and afterwards sitting up on the couch looking much, much better.
Nice. Yeah, very nice.
I'm not claiming that Julie heals everybody, but she definitely has a vast knowledge. And say you've got a pet that does things that you are at your wit's end. I do have one of those. I think she wants to be a podcaster. She comes on every show. She's not in here, though, I don't think. And that's the other one we need to do some work with eventually, because she tends to like to use anything other than her litter box. And she'll go beside it. Yes, since the day she's been born. Otherwise, Julie is an incredible shamanic practitioner, too. I had a life-changing session with her before the new year, and I need to book another one because she's incredible. Now, she's got a new website out there. So Julie, as I always ask you, please just post it in the chat for everybody so they can reach out. Let's see, are we missing anyone? Let me see. Somebody's visiting my website in Denmark because I just
I posted on my yes, that's very
did
good.
You? I don't
post on my social media, so I guess that it's some of them that are checking out now. That's good.
Well, thank you. It's not working. There's a reason why. Like, I used to have it working. I just use facebook.com/Angel Rock because I am setting up my first course with a really good friend of mine, known by the crystal architect Leanne, and I'm hoping we're going to have a domain name by then. So that's why. But I like Wix because it's got a community, and it tells you anybody that accesses the website. It tells you immediately that they've been on there. It's kind of cool. Oh, Lisa Martinello is here. Hi, Lisa. Let me see. I'm going through quickly here. We got Mish. Mish is always visiting us from the future, I say, because she is over in Australia. So it's already Tuesday morning over there. Oh, we've got, let's see. Oh, of course. I keep telling them they need to give me mod status on Twitch, because we always get people that do nasty things over there. So we're not going to give you the attention you're seeking. So if you want to stay, you can. Otherwise, you know what? We're not interested in what you're trying to sell. Sorry, but we're not. Let me see. Everybody's just saying hi to one another. I think we got everybody. If I missed anybody, let me know. So, wait, we've got...
That's mine. Soleil is one for
I was
me.
just about to say that. Do you want to read that? That's one of your people, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So they... Soleil, it says, hey, all, happy to be awake, I think, or have somebody else awake to keep me company. Right?
That's it. Yeah.
So for people that haven't seen you before when you were here the last time, can you kind of refresh them a little bit about what you do and your book? And
what I do is I find it very interesting to combine what we know from science and biology with the spirituality, and I really deeply feel that we need to combine soul, body, and our everyday life, but also the life in healthcare. So in that way, I work very much in healing traumas, explaining how the soul is actually the most important part of us, and how the soul needs to be much more present in our everyday life, in everything we do, everything we think. And in that contact, we also have the contact with the spirit world. So it's like trying to make a unity about everything: soul, everyday life, and spirit world. So that's quite what I do. But I work with mediumship. I work with healing. I teach healing very much, and I help people that are highly sensitive to understand their gift in this sensitivity, and the gift with the spiritual gift as well. So it's just like trying to help people and trying to lift up humanity to a much better level where we can understand how unique and powerful we all are, and how much good we can do when we actually start to acknowledge that power and use it in a good way.
You know what's so interesting is I hold those same beliefs coming from, I have a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing, and I've always really been drawn to science. And I love when we can, if you will, marry those two, spirituality and science, to back it up. Now, when you were talking about the soul, everything you've said, I so resonate with. I know the last time you were on, it just went like.
So I have so much looking forward to talking to you again, because it's so nice to have one that's, oh, that's right, I do that and I do that. It's really
yes.
So, yeah.
What I was going to share, I was, I think it was Saturday, and my son, I didn't say much before when you went, but my son, I know you knew, my son passed away very unexpectedly in January 2025 in this room. And I have a clothing rack, and of course they just got it out of the way. It broke. I did get it standing up, but the thing was, it was barely hanging on, and I thought, I can't leave this, it's going to collapse. So I was cleaning on Saturday, and I was looking for something to watch. And I kind of thought, oh, I should take a look on Netflix. I never watch. They have an incredible new series out there called Surviving Death.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I have. It's not, I think it's from 2000 and
is it? It said new.
Something like that. Yeah, but it's amazing. It's really good. Really
so
good.
It's older then. So that's a good thing for people to know, because it came up under new. So if it's older, when did it come out? So if people are looking for
it. 2021.
Oh, you are right.
But it's really, really good. I love that one very much. Also because I work with epigenetic healing and karma healing as well, and they have some really good studies there about reincarnation that I really like, because it shows actually some of the things that I'm. Yeah.
That's what made me think about it, because that's what I loved about it, is it's 6 episodes for people who haven't seen it. And they really, I think, gave it a really holistic approach to looking at what the afterlife is. But I loved what they talked about the soul. So can you tell people, they probably never heard those terms, epigenetic healing, and what you were talking about, the different healing modalities?
Yeah, what I because I'm a medium, I have been talking to, the dead ones very much.
Yes.
and when we are connecting with the loved ones from the other side, they often come with advice, and they come with a lot of love. And what's interesting in that part, when you connect we have our genes, and our genes we have inherit from our ancestors. But again, our ancestors is actually also on the other side. So when we have something we have inherited, like it could be a sadness that inherit in the lineage for very long time. There could be many 100 years. So you come into life with a little depression and a little sadness, and it's not really yours, but you are affected about it. And then when I combine the mediumship, I connect with the ancestors, and the ancestors that had this trauma can come and heal the living relative. In that way, the ancestors get the healing and the living person get the healing. And that what I call the epigenetic healing, is that when you change the environment, the ancestors creates an environment around you. It's like a healing environment, but you have your ancestors around you all the time, and their energy vibration could be heavier if there's trauma, and lighter and more soul if there are no trauma, but the clear contact to the soul energy. So I use that in a healing session to help the living now to let go of old trauma. So the epigenetic trauma is transferred through generations, but you can actually also access the good qualities of your lineage or your ancestors by doing this epigenetic healing. So that's a very short explanation, but it's really good, because in that way we can heal both the living and the ones on the other side, they don't need to be born again into the karmic cycle to, heal the trauma. They can heal them because one living relatives are ready to, break the cycle.
Mm-hmm. No, I really felt that. And because when Carrie Lynn and I did our first show, because it's beneath the hollow moon, and I don't know all the answers, but then our friend Beverly Rhodes, I had mentioned to you before, that was on last week. She has talked about this too, because there's a theory out there that there's a soul cube inside the moon, and people, will be told, like even on paranormal shows, go to the light. And the theory is, if you go into the light, you re-enter back through the soul cube to just keep repeating the cycle. Have you heard this before, or do you have some thoughts on that?
I haven't heard about a soul cube, but I know that when we enter the light, it's not because we have to come back and back and back, but we have to come back if we have some unfinished business, or if you have some really important things to contribute to in the world. So I don't think we come back and without the wish to do better, or to make a difference. So I haven't heard about the moon cube.
I've never heard of this before either.
But I always work with connecting with the light. So when I work with earthbound souls, it's about healing them into the light so they can be released. And also when I work with terminal patients, dying patients, I work with connecting them with the light, or what I call it's like the tunnel of light, or a ray of light. Is from the near-death tunnel. When people have these near-death experiences, they talk about entering the light. So I have been working about connecting people to that tunnel of light, because that's the contact, that's the space where we have the best possible contact to the spirit world, and our soul is always connected to that space. It's like a dimension. Our soul is a divine structure, and that dimension is divine. So when we are connected with our soul, we are easily connected with that. Not the near-death experience, but you are connected with the place where the near-death experience are. And in that context, we are in deep contact with spirit world. So in that way, we can use the contact. So I don't think it's wrong that we are coming back. It's actually good, because we have to do better than last time, and we have to contribute to the world with very much of that divine energy. The world need our soul to touch ground.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily have ever resonated with that theory, because I think it's very fear-based. Because somebody had shared the comment. I'm going to read your comment in just a minute, Soli, because Michelle or Mish had said, oh my gosh, life's hard enough, another choice at the end to go into the light or not. No, and I think that that's very fear-based, to like, don't go to the light, don't go to the light. You might just get thrown right back in and have to keep repeating the cycle. It's never.
I don't think that the light is, actually, I think the light has this peacefulness. It comes with love, and it brings love. So actually, it's not like, oh no, don't go to the light. Please do, because all the earthbound spirits that I have been working with didn't go to the light. They just hang there and continue living, not really aware of being dead. So it's like a not living life, where when you're in the light, it's full of life
and love.
And love, lots of love. So please go to the light, because when you're finished, how can I explain it? It's not like you have to be born again. You are born because you wish to be born. So when you're finished, when you're finished living on Earth or other places, you go into being a spirit guide for somebody, or maybe you could be a guardian angel for somebody. So in that way, you will, when you are managed, that experience that you have had on earth, then you go to another kind of experiences. Your soul has to expand. It has to learn. It needs to learn, and it needs to, unfold things and do good things. And that's the energy in the light. And that's why we have to go there, because in that life, what I normally say, our soul is able of living outside our body. Our soul don't
Absolutely.
need the body, but it loves to be in contact with the body, because you can feel things when you have your body. You can taste things when you have a body. It's a totally different kind of experience.
Plus you get to feel emotions, that you
Yes.
really feel love. What I was going to add, one of the things that actually my friend Agi Nost, he's from Norway, and he's got Broadcast Team Alpha. I've been friends with him for years. And I had quite the paranormal experience with very negative entities in my previous home. And this is how I kind of got into the field that I'm in now. And long story short, he had made a suggestion one time, and it really resonated with me. And I've also worked really extensively in death and dying most of my adult life, palliative care. And it sounds like a negative, depressing subject, but it's not. It's one of the most powerful, I think, experiences we can have as a human being, to be there. But what he had suggested, and I've tried it, and it does work. Even, going into the light, look for that light. But I also notice, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, and then we're going to get to Soli's comment, I promise, is when the person is there and they're laying in bed and they're close to leaving this world, and usually they're comatose or in a coma. And then I call it the gift. And I tell people, if you haven't experienced this with a loved one that was in that state, that means there's nothing wrong. There's always a reason for what things happen. Sometimes it's 5 minutes. I think the longest I had was 8 hours. And the way I explain it is the person almost wakes up miraculously. They don't have any issues with their mind or cognitive issues. They're able to have these unfinished conversations that they maybe otherwise didn't have.
Yeah.
The hardest for me, I will tell you, as a home community visiting nurse, and especially the family was very strongly religious, and their loved one had woken up out of a coma for about 8 hours, and they really believed a miracle had happened, versus recognizing that this was the gift of being able to finish those conversations you weren't able to have before this happened. But going back to Augie, I always have suggested, because a lot of people talk about loved ones that have already passed, that say you were earthbound. This is where I usually use it, and we're able to establish that communication is, can you call on a loved one or a pet or somebody or something that you've strongly loved and ask them to come get you? If they haven't, you can always suggest an angel or somebody, because you will hear of souls that believe they are trapped and they can't leave this earthly realm. Have you run into that at all?
Actually, I want to just add on to the
Perfect.
thing you were saying about how to help the dying to into the light, or calm them down, and make them feel safe in that. It's a transition. It's the most normal thing we can do, is to be born and to die.
Yes.
It's everybody experiences it one time in our life. So it's like,
but our loved ones are still here. Like, that's why I'm still grieving, but I can handle it because I can feel him, I can hear him, and I know he's not gone. I'm going to see him again. Please continue.
Yeah. So I have at least two examples of animals coming to greet the dying person. So one of them was one friend of mine that was very afraid of dying, and he had cancer for a very long time, and he felt that it was his time, but he was afraid, very much afraid. He could hear them knock on the windows, and he said, I can see red letters on the wall. And I said, okay, dear Frank, would you like to hear where you're going? Would you like to try to enter where you're going when you're dying? And he said yes. And then I guided this meditation I normally use, where I connect them with this ray of light, or pillar of light, that is actually the same dimension as the near-death experiences. That's the tunnel of light. So I connected him with that, and the thing was, he was very afraid of meeting his father because he didn't really live the life. He felt that he wasn't a success. He had been a very big, boss in a very big firm, but he was not there. He was drinking too much, so he was afraid of meeting his dad. And what happened was, I guided him into the light, and the first thing that happened was his big poodles, two poodles, big ones, one white and one black, was just running to him, and it's like, "Oh, Gorman Tor, oh, thank you." So they were just greeting him. It's like, "Oh, you're coming.
You're home."
Behind them, his father was standing there, and he could see that he was really, really full of love to his son. Wow. And after that, I brought him back. And after that, he decided, okay, he would go to hospice now instead of being home, so his wife could take care of him. She has been taking care of him for so long time. And now when he entered the hospice, she could be a relative that he could be his wife. She could be his wife instead of his nurse. Yes. And he could say probably goodbye to his friends and all. He had a lot of children around. Before he met her, he had a lot of children. So there was a lot of children coming to visit him and say goodbye from the States and Denmark and everything. And he died 2 weeks later. And this experience of entering the light, seeing what was who's greeting him, the dogs and his father, that was a very good experience for him. It helped him pass. And just last week, I had another experience where I was healing an old client, and he was afraid of dying as well. It was only distant healing. And what I haven't been talking to him for, I didn't talk to him because he couldn't talk anymore. So it was his wife that contacted me. And I think it was 10 years ago, I was working with that family. And what happened was, he was so afraid of dying. And we were a group that healed him one day. And then I sent distant healing to him 2 days. And what I saw was his big black cat. I didn't know he had a cat, but he has this big cat arriving the first day I was healing, and it was so clear it helped him to feel safe and work with his life and being content with his life. And the next day I was healing in the morning, the cat was coming and just laid by his head on his pillow, and it was like like this, and I was seeing him as a little child, little baby. And he was so relaxed. And then 1 hour later, his wife said he died. He died long ago. So the cat was actually coming, helping him to relax and helping him to really go into the light in love. So I
love that.
And it was a black cat. And
black cats.
Yes. So in that way, what you were saying was, you can ask for help from your pets. Yes, they are there. Your family is there. They are just wanting to help you. So every time you passes, there will be family members. There will be loved ones. There will be, normally I say loved ones on 2 or 4 legs. So they will be there. And
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and they will greet you very much.
I love that you've shared that, and how powerful that you have that gift to be able to guide people, because there's no bigger gift than peace. And I'm going to address that in a minute, but I promised Sully I would read their comments. So they say, I love hearing about epigenetic healing. Not many healers I have met have had that kind of knowledge as Marzcia, and I sending respect, but they've also asked a question. They have said, I'm curious to know if either one of you, Marzcia and Lorilei, have experienced being in the room as a person is taking their last breath and actually seeing the soul leave the body. My answer is quick, or would you like to go first?
I think because I only seen my cat in that situation. I haven't seen a human with that. So I guess you have.
Okay, so yes, I have been there many, many times when people have stopped breathing. and left this world. But I can tell you that no, because I've been using these gifts my entire life, had strange, unusual things, but I never really tapped into what I'm doing now until I had this extreme paranormal experience in my home. With that being said, though, what I can tell you is when somebody passes, there is an energy shift, whether you know it's an energy shift or not. The first time it happened when I was in a home many years ago, it was literally the only way I can explain it. It was like if the room was heavy and it just felt really dark, and the look of peace on my patient's face when they passed, there aren't words to explain the serenity, the peace, and the calmness. And you can literally feel the love. And I believe in angels. It's almost like the angels have come in and lifted the whole room up. So no, I have not seen the soul leave, but that would be my experience. And I'd love to hear if you're comfortable about what happened with your cat.
Yeah, it's what and again, I would say you are totally right about entering a room where there is a dying person, or also just after they have passed. The energy is like, it's like entering a church. The same feeling of really a secret place or energy. There is, it's or it's like walking in the snow. Every sound is like a little less clear. It's a really um, peaceful,
It's
loving atmosphere, and you can sense it's like there is the contact between the physical life and the spirit life is so close to each other. And
mhm.
so that's the feeling I have had with all the dying persons I have been visiting in that situation. But with the cat was, we went to she had had cancer for some time, and now it was her time. She was 15 years old and it was okay. And when she passed, there was a little, it was like light red, like like this stone. It's like nearly this color. It was just going around up in the air. It's like this kind of light was just passing over. And our wet is not one thinking of those things, but she also felt the difference there very much when she was taking her last breath. So it was like I was sure that she was actually an angel. She has been in my life for some really difficult times, and now I was ready for her to leave. So it's so in that way I sense this energy coming from her.
Yes.
But I haven't seen a human die. I've just been with them just before or after.
hmm And I thank you for sharing that. Now we can, if we can comment from Mish, but I'll read it and then I'm going to share something quickly. If you feel, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So Mish says, I was with my father when he passed, but never noticed anything. However, a few hours before he did, I woke to feel a hand on my leg. Not
Mm,
sure if it was my mom or dad, who, I think there's another part here. Hang on, I think she finished it. Who was also passed. Okay, just a little bit, and we got Timbo here. We've got more comments, and we love your comments and questions. Mish, I thought at first when I read that you said you wished you had been there, meaning you weren't. I now have read it the way it is, but maybe this will help somebody else out there, because I know in my work, I'm sure in your work as well,
yeah.
a lot of people have a lot of guilt for not being there when
Mm,
it happens. And the easiest answer, and I truly believe this, is you were not meant to be there to
yeah,
see
I
them
totally agree.
in that
Yes.
state. You were meant to see them the way you remembered them. If you weren't able to get home, say when it happened, or the last time you spent together. If you're asking, Mish, I'm going to turn this question back to you. Who do you believe it is? And I'm going to add, I believe it very well sounds and feels like your mom, but feel free to comment, Marzia.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's I think Oh, there is many questions around.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'll take it off. I'll start so I remember. Go ahead if you want to comment.
When it was before he was dying, I would also say must be the mother that's there to just
What I
comfort
think.
and say, I'm here to pick him up and it's all right. It's not your responsibility anymore. I will take responsibility for him now. He's home. So that would be that feeling I had in that. But it's also very normal that even though you can't be there, you have the feeling or sense the presence of your loved one. When my grandmother died, I was sitting with I love to sit with the fireplace, and I love the warmth from the fire.
Me
So
too.
I sat by the yes. So I was sitting there, and over in the corner, I sensed the presence of my grandmother. And it was also around the time that she was dying. So even though you can't be there physically, they can maybe come and say goodbye, or you
I
can.
have that lots. Yeah.
So many people. There is also science that shows that people sense their loved ones around the death, maybe a little before, maybe after, on a week after.
Yeah.
In that way, it's not necessary for you to be there if it's not possible. I also have my spouse's grandmother, which I loved very much as well. She was dying when we had traveled to Thailand, and we was really fighting to come back. Not fighting, but we were, the insurance company was
everything to try and get back, right? Like
really, really. And she died 1/2 hour before we landed in Denmark, in Copenhagen. And what we thought about that was, if we had been there, she had been living a longer time, because she really loved company. So we are quite sure that it was her time. And if we had been there, she didn't die she wouldn't have been dying, but it was her time.
She would have hung on, and that is
hung on so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, so sometimes people have to die alone, not because they are alone, but because then they can let go.
Yes. Or I've seen people too working in the field and had many of these conversations, not on air, but off. For example, one of my friends had an uncle that was like a father to them. He'd been in a difficult accident, was in a wheelchair, and had a breathing machine called a ventilator. And he'd gotten very ill, and they decided to, now I know they say on TV, pull the plug. That's not what happens. They take the breathing tube out, and usually, not always, but usually it's very quick. With the uncle, it wasn't happening quick. And the one answer I did give my friend was, only your uncle and God know when he's going home. That's one answer, because that's the decision that's made. But the other is, a lot of people hang on. They may be waiting for a loved one to come. And I believe this was the situation. This person's sister was traveling. Or I've also seen that, as soon as somebody that's very ill, and they just seem to keep hanging on, because I always tell people, hearing is the first sense that comes in when a baby is in utero. And it's the last to
want to go.
Yeah, when we leave. So I've seen people say, it's in their ear, it's okay to go now. We'll be okay. And literally a breath or two, the person lets go. I'm sure you've heard that, seen that too, right, Marzcia?
Yeah.
So we got a Timbo question. I think I didn't read it all, but they said, I was training myself to lucid dream, but one night I realized I was actually out of body. I then entered a realm of golden white light. It was radiant, accepting, loving, and joyful. There's a little bit more here. I spoke to a being I believe was my father, who passed a year prior. The experience was 15 years ago, and I'll never forget, although it's hard to continue in this 3D world. Do you have any advice for Timbo at all, or anything to share with that?
Yeah, it's actually, it's like, it's this ray of light that I'm talking about, or this pillar of light. And it's not like you have to pass away to be in that contact. You can be in that contact every day. It's your soul connected to that, and your sensory system can sense it. So in that way, I use that contact to live here in our life, in our physical life. So I use the contact to the spirit world and the divine to be here. And I would very much advise you to do that, so you don't miss that place, but you actually accept that it's here. And it's actually one of the things that we are here to spread out in the world. So in that way, I would advise you to try to come into that contact without the dreaming part, but really accept that your soul, your inner peace is in that contact with that dimension, and you could be in contact with your father when you're awake and alive in your everyday life, and he will help you. They support us to live our life, not to die, to live, also to die, but
I always tell people that's the biggest gift you can give your loved one in spirit, is to live a good life.
yes,
And
it
do
is.
your best to live to be happy. The other thing I'm going to share, this is from personal experience. I knew it would happen, but yesterday where I live, it was cold, it was rainy, it was not nice. But Saturday evening, early evening, I had watched that series, Surviving Death. I thought, oh gosh, I don't think I've asked Justin, my son, to leave me a sign. So I've seen no rainbows around here at all. Like I said, it was cloudy and raining. And I said, Jesse, do you think you could leave me a rainbow tomorrow? I swear, I have a post on Facebook. I went outside and it had been, like I said, rainy, cloudy, dark. It should have been getting dark. The sun broke through and there was the most incredible rainbow right in front of me.
Yeah.
Now, people
Wow.
might say, well, it was just a rainbow. But to me, there shouldn't have been a rainbow there, and there was. They hear
Yeah.
us. They're with us always, right? Our loved ones.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Actually, they are. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, if we had another culture, we would notice them, we would respect them, and we would sense the healing energy and support much better than we do. But I hope for humanity that some of the skills that we will be exploring even more. So it would be very much easier to be in that telepathic contact, heart-to-heart contact, both with the living and the ones on the other side, because actually we are one community, both the living and and the dead that's living, because we are all soul, and our souls are connected,
Mm-hmm.
24/7.
I
And
always, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
also, it's okay.
No, I have a pause. I forgot to remind you, or I have a delay. So it'll seem like there's a pause. So I'm sorry. Please continue if you want.
So okay.
Well,
No,
go ahead.
so in that way, we can be in contact with our loved ones, and we can also be in contact with divine energy and help us to heal. I use this pillar of light, or this contact to that dimension, to regulate my nervous system. So I actually can, even though there's chaos around me, and the world is like the world is, but when I connected with that pillar of light, or with the divine, my nervous system regulates down to a place where I can feel safe and strong, and I can be met with the needs that I have, the emotional needs, the peacefulness, the love, the strength. We believe in you, Marzcia. And in that way, I can stand stronger within myself, in my everyday life, and in the world. And that's what we can use this contact to. And that's why I hope for Timo that he starts to use that contact, because he has experiences it, not because he should long for going up there again, but actually to use that contact to be at home here.
Yes.
Because we need to be at home in the life that we are in, and we are feeling at home when we are connected with our soul and the divine and the physical life. We are meant to be here.
Well, the way spirit has shown me, actually, that, and I call it Earth School. And when I'm teaching, I will say to people, if we can try and look at it with, if they're more spiritually sort of connected in a way, and I don't say that in a way of egotistically, but if you're able to look at, actually, Beverly Rhodes was on last week at the last minute. I loved it. I think it was her that said it. or it might even have been this series I was watching, but it's to look at whatever's going on in life, if we can, not with our human eyes, but with our spiritual eyes, because this is an experience here. We've chosen it, whether people, I always joke and say, I wish I would have read the fine print, but we've chosen it. And Spirit showed me there's a lineup of souls wanting to come here to have this experience, because it really is a powerful experience. Like when we first started this about the epigenetics, right? And where I was really thinking about this, I have a lot of this in my family, alcoholism, and it's been generation after generation after generation after generation. And I don't drink. I might have a drink every now and then. No judgment anybody else with what they do with their bodies. But I truly believe that I decided before I incarnated that this stops with me. Stops with me. No, I very well could have continued in that vein too, but decided to. And you can probably explain it much better than I can, but I think it's powerful when we look at the patterns and things that we carry from generation to generation. And maybe, would you mind talking a little bit about that? Maybe about what people could do to start healing these generational traumas and things that we carry that no longer serve us.
Yeah, it's very important, as you say, to acknowledge what kind of traumas do you have transferred from your lineage. So you actually sense, okay, you have some problems, but some of the problems you have are not really yours. So what I normally do is, again, because I work with the spirit world, when I do this work, I connect with the healing energy, and for me, it's this pillar of light. And then I ask, okay, this pattern, is that apart from my father's legacy or my mother's? And if it's my father's and I somehow give it back to that, I will find a relief in my system. I will find, okay, actually some of the burdens that I have within me are not mine. And I know my father's lineage would actually really much come and help, because they need to take responsibility for their stuff, and they cannot do it up there because they need to be in the physical realm where the problem were. But when you are a living person and you are acknowledging the problem and you want to do something about it, they can come and help you, and they can take responsibility and heal. So when you are ready to heal, they can heal. So in that way, you can find out, is this something I have inherited from my mother's side or my father's side? When you have found out which side it is, you can ask for help from the ones on that side that are really, ready to heal, or actually have been healing up, and now they can take a healing assignment and help you to release. And in that way, you can sit in the healing energy, you can investigate mother's side, father's side, and you can ask for healing in that way. They will help you, because if you succeed, I went to a healer, I have been taught a lot of healing lessons from a Hawaiian healer when I was on Maui. I have been on Maui many times in my life, been trained from Hawaii.
Did you do Huna? I never heard of it before till Christmas time. I knew about Ho'oponopono. I never heard. So I'm just interested, or would love to hear.
Yeah, I did Ho'oponopono, and I did the Lumi Lumi healing energy from Hawaii. So Sean Keahi, he taught me that when we are living, we are the crown jewel of our lineage. And in that way, we come with something extra, but we are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors. And our ancestors really want us to survive and succeed in life. Because if we succeed, the whole family will succeed. And in that way, you have actually really, really many people behind you that wishes you the best. And if there is the best for you is actually to let go of the trauma from your lineage, they will do what they can. You have enormous power from your ancestors, and they really want to help you. And in that way, imagine that you are here now. So your ancestors have been surviving from the first cells in the sea and in the world and the earth. So they are a direct line, and they are so strong. Your survival skills are so strong. So when you use the contact and you ask for help, and you sense the presence, you use your skills in mediumship to sense the presence of the ancestors. They can really help you, not only guide you, they can heal you. And you can heal the whole lineage, both behind you in the present life and in front of you. So you are totally right. It stops with you. So it's not the drinking, maybe that's a problem, but it's the reason why did your ancestors drink. And that could very much be that they couldn't use the skills that you are using right now. You're using your spiritual gifts and you are using them to be in balance with yourself. You have this power. Maybe many of your ancestors had that power but suppressed it, or have a sensitivity, emotional sensitivity that they couldn't use in their societies, and that's why they made drink. And when you use your skills and you have very strong-willed and not continuing, then they can start to help you. And then not only you will succeed, they will succeed, and the future generation will succeed. And I love that. You know, that
Kevin
will
says that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh, how powerful.
It's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not only in your lineage. It would be a lift of energy into humanity, because they can come and they can take responsibility for all the heavy stuff that they were doing at that time on earth. You know, when you work with spirit, that we have some energy that are left on earth. We have a lot of unfinished business that is lying on earth. When they can make this job, take responsibility, they can actually heal the earth from the garbage that they have been making when they lived there. And in that way, we can actually heal very much. It's a powerful healing energy there. And they really want the earth to survive, us to survive, and live in harmony and love.
I love that. Jackie just said, Jackie Lane, I like her too, meaning you. I forgot to do our station ID. I get into these wonderful conversations. I'm supposed to do it at the top of the hour. Thank you, Kevin, for reminding me. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening. I even forgot the 105.3 FM or 107.7 FM. One's on the Gulf Coast. Well, they're both on the Gulf Coast. 107.7 FM's out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, where we broadcast from. And you're listening to UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. And this is the Angel Rock. I'm your host, Lorilei Potvin. My amazing, phenomenal guest, who I know I am going to have back on if she says yes, because we have the most incredible conversations. And her name is Marzcia Techau, and she is over in Denmark. It's the beauty of the internet. I'm in Canada. You're in Denmark. We're broadcasting out of New Orleans. Now, I love it. The one I'm seeing some comments here, but the one thing I keep hearing from Spirit, because I think it's deeply misunderstood, and you brought a little bit of it up at the beginning of our conversation. Can we talk about karma and what it is? Because people, I believe I know what karma is, meaning as a soul growing, evolving, and sometimes you can take someone that's done something really horrible, say mass murderer or something. Now, karma, I don't believe is a punishment, but I believe that we have a life review when we go back home. It doesn't always happen instantaneously. There's no punishment. It's basically guides, and whomever meets us there, we take a look. We get to experience how other people felt by the actions of ourselves, but also we then may, when we choose to come back, have the experience on the other hand, if you will, to grow and learn from the problems we've caused the previous lifetime, if you will. I'd love to hear your thoughts all about this, because people, I think, get karma really mixed up.
Yeah, it's I also think it's like the soul is here to experience, and when you do something, that's sometimes we actually do something because our soul is the divine part, but we also have the body that's connected very much to our nervous system, survival mechanisms. And when you are living much more in accordance with your survival mechanisms, you also create a lot of problems. Your soul is actually not the one creating the problems. It's the mixture of the body and the soul. And when you are in fear of something, or you are angry, or you need power, or there is a lot of stuff there that creates a lot of negative energy. So when you are releasing yourself from the body, when you're dying, you can see yourself from the other side, from your soul. And in that way, you can see, oh no, that was not good. But when you're here, you cannot really, yeah. I think most people, if they could, they would do the right thing. Somehow there's something inside them that do something different. So the karma thing is actually you have to come back and do better. You have to come back and learn from it. And mostly, as you say, if you have been a bad one, you will be one experience bad, and then you have to deal with both sides. When we have been here to Earth so many times, every one of us has been a bad guy,
Yes.
or a good guy, or a nobody guy, or a really big guy. So, and now it was guys already, but also a female as well, a woman as well. So in that way, you experience a lot of things to really understand the depth of it. And then when you come back, you come into a deeper insight, and you can try to heal both yourself and the other parts. So you are you're born into the same soul interaction. So it's the same souls that you are connected with.
Yeah.
So you can heal the trauma, the interaction trauma. You can heal when you are living the next lives together. So you will be presented with the trauma again, or the unfinished business, as I call it. So you can finish it in a good way. But remember, we have a lot of good karma. So the karma is not only bad. You have a lot of good things. And you can use the good things to deal with the bad things. So
interesting.
In that way, I see actually, I'm happy both for the bad things and the good things, because I know for the bad things, when you solve them, there's a lot of good within them. So every time you have a trauma, you can heal it, and you will release a divine energy. Your trauma will lock you in, and your soul needs you to release so you can light up. So when you have karma and you come down into some kind of closeness, you have a trauma that's, you come into something complicated. When you come back, you have to solve that complicated stuff, so your soul can start to light out in the world, or illuminate out in the world. So it's a part of your soul's journey to have those experiences and also to solve them. So
it's because it's about balancing, right? Like balancing it all out. So Connie has a question for us. Sorry, please continue. I was going to highlight that, but please continue.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I feel so bad. I forgot to tell you I don't know why I have a delay. I'm right over top my internet, and I usually remember to tell my guests. And I think maybe because it's concrete, like I'm in a townhouse, because it'll seem like there's a pause, and I'll go to speak, and I apologize if I cut your train of thought there. So Connie says, but if we choose to come and experience bad situations and I don't know where that went, sorry, and do bad things in this life, is all the good and forgiven when we go home? I think that's what it says. Is this all forgiven when we go home?
And I think go home means go to the
We
light
leave
again.
this earth. Yeah, we leave this earth, and I call it home, and I use it a lot. So I'm guessing that's what Connie means, going back
And
home.
what I think that they know, they can see everything in a very broader perspective. So they have, we are definitely forgiven,
Oh yeah.
and we are loved and understood much better than we can understand ourselves. So when we pass and we have a lot of things that we are, oh no, 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 then there will be a big love meeting us and preparing us to come down again to solve it better next time, because we know we have learned from our mistakes and we have grown with that, and we come with a much better knowledge to deal with it. So that's a part of it. We are definitely loved because the God energy or the divine energy have a much deeper understanding of our actions than we have ourselves, and that's a
And there's
part
no
of the
words.
development.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a part of the development.
Well, there's not words to describe the feeling of love. The same thing, because I had an NDE or near death experience as a toddler, I don't remember it specifically, but once I start to think about like the music, the colors, the
Yeah,
word love, there is not enough words to express how deeply profound each of those things are, and many more back home. Every
mm,
like I ended up having a dream that came true years ago that felt like it was 10 minutes ago, that started my paranormal experience.
mm,
And in the end, to get rid of the negative interaction I had had with the being that I was having, I knew enough to call on Archangel Michael. And the way the dream ended was the most incredible flash of sapphire royal blue, but the words don't describe it,
mm,
silver and white. Everything was magnified times a gazillion when it comes to colors, it comes to sounds, it comes to the
mm,
music, right? And the
yeah,
love. And so I always say to people when I'm working with clients, we're looking at things from a human perspective, because in our minds, right, there should be justice for people that have done bad things, or there should be punishment, or there should be this, but there's nothing but love on the other
mm,
side. You are never punished for what you've done. There's what did you learn? And like you said, let's make the decision when you're ready to go back and try it again. I love what you said, do better.
yeah. It's
Mhm.
and what's also, we understand, is our soul is a loving soul. So when we do something that's unkind,
Mhm.
it's somehow there is a lot of pain there.
Mhm.
So even though we do bad things towards others, there is a pain in them and there is a pain in the person doing that.
Mhm.
So our soul has a lot of heart. So if you have somehow closed your heart so you can do very bad things, that's a really big pain there to make that heart closure.
Mhm.
So when you come back, the love will meet the closed heart, and you
Mhm.
will start to have the emotional surplus of energy that you can manage to look at what's not good. But when we are here, we cannot manage. People do things because they cannot manage to have the open heart. So they have to close the heart to be here. And when we close our heart, we also close some of our uh, compassion energy and the way of being connected with each other. So you somehow, when you have that closure, a closed heart, or feeling angry or sad, it's difficult to feel the love. But when you go over to the other side, or you connect with the spirit world, you can sense the love and you can start to heal. They come with the love that you needed to heal. So you don't need to die to be better. You can also use the presence of the healing energy to, they come with the emotions that you need. They come with the love that you need. They come with the peacefulness. So you can heal up here instead of going to the other side to heal. But then it's important that you learn how to be in contact, because many times we do bad things because we feel trapped, or we feel that we are not loved, or we are not accepted, or we are not, there is no room of injustice and everything like that. It's like, but if we have energy enough, we can actually digest all those emotions and be balanced in our nervous system. And we can do that when we are here, but we definitely do it when we're up there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree 100%. And the thing is we have free will here. So we have the choice to choose to heal or not. But, and I'm really visual. That's where I was going before. And I got off on a different tangent that I try to explain to people through analogies that might make sense. For example, to show that we really are all one, because it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around that sometimes. So I always say, you take God, or you might call it source, the universe, creator, whatever you want to call this power, and this being is made of clay, and one day has decided, I'm going to create the universe that we're in, including this planet Earth. So source takes a piece of clay and creates the earth, and takes another piece, another piece, another piece, and creates everything we see that we have on this planet. But it's all come from source, meaning the clay, right? So we really, even though we may look different the way we're created, and have different function, whatever it is, but we are not separate. We have all come from the same bit of clay. It makes us all connected. We've all come from the same place, right? I don't know. I find that sometimes easier to wrap my mind around. It may resonate, it may not, but it's hard sometimes, I think, when I used to be told, well, we're all one, because then you start to ask questions. Not so much anymore, but when I was younger, about, well, if we're really all one, why is person A so hateful towards me? Why can I not stand to be near them or be around them if we really are all one, right? You start to wrap your mind around that. But people also make agreements to come in, if you will, to kind of, maybe they are really awful. It gives us that push, right, to make the choice of, what do I do with this? Does that make sense? Or do you have anything more to add?
I would say, the more you are in contact with your soul, the less you are locked up in your adaptation to a world that are much more into trauma and power and
Service to self, not service to others.
Yes. So in that way, when there's a lot of trauma, or when there is a lot of feeling not like belonging, then you can somehow cut yourself away from that feeling of being one. So it's like, even though we are one soul, and soul are one, or we are one in the divine, then when you're not connected with that part of you, you can actually do a lot of things without even knowing. It's like you have a lot of things that you have from your ancestors. You have a lot of things from your early childhood. You have a lot of things from past lives. And that could be trauma, that could be bad behaviors, that could be patterns that not really include living according to your soul. So in that way, you have at least 3 roads to look at: childhood, past lives, and ancestors. And if there is some problems there, and you have inherited that, and the problem is that your soul is not really connected to your life or to your body, and you are living all the traumas and all the bad behaviors, then it's really difficult. So you have to do a bit of work with yourself to change that. Go back to your source. That's your soul. Your soul is, when the soul has contact to your body, many of those negative behaviors will be healed, because the soul is a life force. It's a loving energy, and it's all your capacity, all that you have learned and being good at from all the past lives are in your soul. So when you are connected with your soul, you have all the tools you need to be here. You can master to be in your life. But when you are not connected, you will live the life from all the adaptations to your childhood, to all the negative things, and then it will be the harder you beat someone, the better and stronger you are, and the more power you have. And when you go into that kind of power, somebody else will be the one lower than you, and then we have the problems. But the divine energy is not like that. It works in another way. So that's why we have to do our work, and we have to help to make a society where it's the soul we are living from instead of our survival mechanisms, because our survival mechanisms will create a lot of conflict.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I was just going to say that that makes a lot of sense. I have a question. I think we kind of answered this, because I'm thinking about, I've even seen that we can carry through our ancestors block to manifesting abundance, I'm going to say, not just money. And that's an interesting topic, but I'm going to read Connie's comment first. She is saying, and is this a majority of souls? Don't some souls stay evil when they pass on?
I have never, ever, ever met an evil soul. Never, ever, ever. What we call evil is mostly a lot of human behavior that are not really connected with the soul.
I agree. And I can also add, knowing a bit about Connie too, are you referring to possibly, Connie, earthbound spirits, where we see negative activity from a ghost or an energy space, or being, say, from other lower dimensions, or what? Maybe she'll be able to clarify that. But yes, that's what she's asking. Yes, I figured. Yes. So can you maybe give us a little bit of thought about earthbound spirits that do really negative things? They've passed away.
They do. Yeah, they do.
They know they're dead, but they've stayed for many different reasons. I've run into them before. They know, but
yeah, it's like what I see, because when I've been working very much with haunted houses as well in my career.
I think we were supposed to talk about that this time, but you know what? This is so fascinating. I'm so glad we're talking about this. Go ahead.
No, okay. So what I see many times when I work with have been working with earthbound spirit is that somehow they have locked down for the contact to their soul, and they live the trauma. They live the anger, they live according to the most bad parts of human emotions and thoughts, and they cannot somehow, because when they died, of course there was, the soul of light was there, and all the ancestors and the loved one was there, but somehow the heart was closed in a way that they didn't look up to the light. They didn't sense the love. They just continued being angry or hateful or dominant and sad. And in that way, when they so connected, somehow they stayed at this level and then connect to the living, and that makes problem. They can't get energy. They don't have their life force anymore. So they have to create like they did when they were living. When a person that spreads love into a room, everybody is like, a person that spreads fear, it's like everybody's like, ah. So in that way, they create a space where they get the energy. The fear energy is like fuel for them. So when you're dying and you didn't go to the light, you just have to have the energy, and you do it the normal way. You start to make people fearful, because you get the fuel so you can feel strong.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's like, we could say it's evil, but when we go to that, when I heal a person like that, a dead person, somehow on the way we go into a state where they're just a little kid. It could be a little girl, it could be a little boy, and there is something wrong there. They didn't didn't have love enough, or there was something very intense that was happening to them. So when we heal an earthbound spirit, and I always ask the parent, the loved ones from the other sides to come and help. And they come and they have the healing and they have the capacity to help the little one. So even though it's a really, really thing, oh no, that's not a good person at all, there is a little good person there somewhere in the line. And when that connection is between the loved ones on the other side and that little one, the healings start, and then the spirit can pass. So it's not like they are, of course they do evil things, but many times, because they're just human, there is some history behind that. And when you heal that history, you also releases the patterns and the trauma, and the soul can go over and it can come home. It's in that way, it's a healing assignment to heal her earthbound souls and to bring them together with the family. And the family really, really needs them to come. They love them. They really, it's like, many times it's like I see the ray of light or this, near this tunnel, and they're standing there just like, come. And then when we create the healing space, it's like they can reach out with their hands and grab the one that is like, I will not go over in light, I will be in dark, I will be bad, I'm a bad person, I don't belong. When they start to say all the things, I close down, when I can just be a really bad one, then then I will not be sorry anymore for anything. It's too dangerous to feel emotions. So I can just, everything like that. It's just a human being with a lot of trauma. We have to get them over, heal them and get them over.
I love that. Hi, Mark Eddie. He's popping in. Soli says, I agree with Marzcia about spirits who haven't entered the light yet, because all souls, and in brackets spirits, I've met only radiate love. They are love. And I agree as well. But I understood what Connie's one of our regular audience members. And I'm glad she asked that question, because I'm sure that question was going through people's minds was, well, why do we run into these so-called evil ghosts? But what I love what you said is to be able to see that child as, or that soul as a child, because no child starts out on this planet as evil or has hate or has anything in their heart. They have nothing but love. I always believe a child's work is play, right? Imagination, play, living in the now. That's why I believe that all young children can see spirit, can see into the spirit world, just like animals can, because they're pure. And we come here to experience emotions, we do, and many other things, to learn, grow, evolve as a soul. But as a child, they're so much closer to where they came from in the way of home, that they still really very much have that connection, I believe. And it's a good way for self, I believe, too. And I love that you've really brought up a lot about calling in on our ancestors, because we can be the worst to our own selves with that inner voice. And, especially if you're choosing to say, follow a path like this, the inner healing, loving oneself. It's not always easy to love oneself. So I'd love to hear if you've got some advice for people listening, how that might be easier, and calling in on the ancestors to help with that too, because I'm really loving what you're saying about that.
Yeah, it's what can I say? It's a whole chapter in this book. So,
geez, how did I know that?
So
plug the book too, because that's your latest book. So
I have a chapter about that in the book, because there is a whole chapter about how to use the ancestors. There is also healing meditations that are connected to the book that you can buy on my website, because many of the negative thoughts you have, imagine that could also be some that your grandfather has been thinking, or your grandmother has been thinking. So when you think, oh, I have those very bad thoughts, maybe it's not really yours. Maybe
I never thought that until you just said that now.
so it's like, again, I would do the same. A part of all this shit is not mine. It's from my mother's side or my father's side. Or it could be something that I have experienced when we are a child. We are just mirroring our surroundings. Like a chameleon, we are just being the color that we are in environment with. And it just comes into your system and you think it's your own, but it's not. It's what you have been mirroring in your early childhood. So you have also have to investigate, is this your inner child having bad thoughts? Is it like your dad has told you, you're stupid, you will never be something or someone in your whole life? And before he can say it, you start to say it to yourself. So really you had to take your father's voice out of your head.
That's the hard part, though, right? For a lot of people, because the brain is like a sponge from the age of 0 days of age to about 7 in particular. I know the brain's not fully formed till about 25, but we take in so much. It's so deep in there. So how do we do it? What do we do to...
What normally I teach women, because, you know, of course I have some men on my courses as well, but you know, when I have 20 students in a room, maybe 3 or 4 of them is men, so it's mostly women. So I just say, is it a female voice, or is a woman voice, or a male voice? It's just like, it's a male. Okay, can you recognize that voice? And it could be father, it could be a teacher, it could be the neighbor. It's like, oh, it's not even my own voice. And that way, it's so much easier, because if it's not yours, then it's much easier to say, oh, when I hear that voice again, it's like, oh, no. So it's starting in that one, just to distinguish, is it yours or is it not? So it's the healing energy. Is it from father's side, mother's side? Is it childhood? Or if it's not really like that, you can ask if it's karma. Because if it's past lives, you also can do something about it. So what you can do is, I have something I call a pod exercise. So it's one of the free healing meditations on my website. So you can listen to that. That's the healing energy. And then it's like, okay, it's my father's voice. And you lay down that father's voice in this pod, or bucket exercise, I think it is. And it's going over in the light. And you feel how it's like, when it's not yours, it's far away from you, then you start to listen to your own soul like voice instead. And that is a loving voice. It's like, I can do this. I feel happy. Because when you're not connected with all the stuff that you have been collecting over time, and you start to really feel your own inner self, it's a loving life force, creative life force. It's full of clarity and full of purity. It's like, yes, now I'm here. And that's the awakening part. So I use what I call it's in English, it's the bucket exercise. So I use that to let go. You can use that to let go of ancestor things and thoughts and other people's emotions. So in that way, when you start to use the healing energy and you release it what not yours, you can start to take responsibility for what's yours. And that's much easier, because it's so difficult. It's like cleaning a very, very big garbage. I don't know what's the English word. Very much garbage.
Like a garbage bin or pail, or
yeah. Okay. A pail would be a big garbage pail, and it's only yours. It's only a little part of it, but you think everything is yours. And you can never clean it all. But what you can do is say, oh, this is not mine. Over there, this is mine. I take responsibility. It's when you clean and you have a really nice house after that, that's a very good feeling, because it's your house. And you can clean it because it's the right amount of garbage.
Yep.
But when you're filled with garbage from your ancestors, from past lives, from your childhood, it's so difficult. And then you can also, because you didn't manage to, regulate yourself, and it's not mine, when you're not having the right borders around you, you
Yeah.
continue to just take other people's shit in, that junk. So even though you are over 6 years old or 7 years old, because that's right, around 7, we start to feel I'm here and the other one is there. But if you had trauma and you haven't learned to keep your borders because, dysfunctional family life, whatever.
Most of us do have a dysfunctional family, yes.
Then you continue to just carry other people's garbage. The worst part of it is they cannot take responsibility for their garbage because you are taking it. So it's like, how can they take responsibility when you're holding it? And you cannot take responsibility for your own because you can see it in all the garbage.
That's why I said, because Julia shared a comment here. She said, my abusive narcissistic ex will never learn as he sees no wrong in his actions. But I thought that was just so powerful what you said, right? And I'm going to share something, and please tell me if this might resonate. So when my son passed away, I don't usually talk about my son like this, but it's a good story to share. And an analogy I think that'll go along with this. I do not speak to my parents anymore. It's very toxic. And I realized a long time ago, I have to be responsible for what is mine and what I do. They have not chosen to change. The only thing that can change is myself. So when my son passed away, they made it so stressful. It was the most stressful part of my son passing away. And really, it should have been about my son. But where I'm going with this, and I'm so grateful for Spirit, is I said, Spirit, one night, what can we do? What can I do about this? And I had an illumination moment where Spirit said, you gave them the power to make this the most difficult part of your son passing. And you have that power to take it away. And when I say take it away, no, I didn't need to fight or argue or anything. I literally could take responsibility for where the responsibility and the focus needed to go. I didn't need to put energy over there. I'm not going to change who they are or how they are, but in that big garbage pail, they can go over back in that corner again, right? Yeah. And I don't know if that resonates or not, but that certainly made sense to me. Yes.
That's right. It's good. And also to Julia's question or comment about her ex that's narcissist, you know, there will always be another life where he will be in another position to make another path in his life. But what's most important is right now, he's your ex. And you are going in another direction, and that's important.
It is. I just love that analogy you gave, though, about the pail. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off because that really worked. Please continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's good. The pill is really good. But also because it was Julia's, yes.
Julia's,
Julia's ex. It's the most important thing about that is to go out of the relationship, because then you are on the right path. And he is also on his right path because it's his learnings. And he will learn, if it's not in this life, then his next life. That's
now
it.
It's time for you to take care of you and start working on the healing when it feels good for you, because it will, when you're able to process this and heal those parts and move on your path, and he's going to go the other way, right? We don't have to forget, but by forgiving, not even necessarily what's done to us, but forgiving the action of him and moving forward, it really can make a difference. It feels so much lighter.
So for me, it's like something can be difficult to forgive. And maybe it's much more about forgiving oneself that you're not able to forgive and then release the other one. Just, like having two streams of a river. You go in one direction and the other one goes in the other direction. And let go of the entanglement. the need for a person to say I'm sorry or reckon their faults could make you stay in a position where you cannot move,
Yeah.
but you will also have the other one linked into your energy. So when we are feeling a lot of stuff like that, remember that when you have that hook in the other one, it also have a hook in you. So remember, do you want your ex to have that power over your energy? No way.
So you can do things like a soul retrieval. I've heard of people doing
Yes.
cord cutting. I like the soul retrieval. That was part of something Julia mentioned, Julie Jean Bassett, and she's really good at this with her shamanic practitioner.
Mm.
We had actually a soul retrieval that happened. Hi, Kasoon. Welcome. You're almost at the end here, but Julie, sorry, not why did I say Julie? Probably Julia on my mind here, talking about her. Dolly Saffron and Preston Dennett are coming up right after this. So, but I like the soul retrieval because I send back no longer those parts that are mine, and I take back my own. Right?
Yeah.
Almost. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So soul retrieval, I see that that's also something I talk about in Your Soul, Your Life, is actually when we have soul retrieval on at least two different kinds of retrieval. When you heal a trauma, it's like a trauma is you're locking yourself in. You have a free situation. When you have a trauma, you can run, you can fight, or you can go into freeze. When
Or
you
freeze.
freeze, then the freeze response is you cannot do something, and then the soul cannot really enter the freeze, and that's the trauma. So when you heal that, the soul can enter. So your soul can be pushed out, a part of your soul
Mm-hmm.
can be pushed out, and when you heal the trauma, it can enter the body and start to the life force and the soul can start to help the body to be more alive. So that's the personal development, the trauma healing process, that's soul retrieval as well. But you can also have a decision that, oh, now I will start. It could be a new direction in your life. When you took in and say, I would like to do the spiritual work, then you open for like a soul part of you, just like your airplane waiting for giving the permission to land. It's like, okay, she's ready. Wow.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
soul retrieval can also be some skills or potentials that you are ready to access now. So soul retrieval is both the healing of trauma and
Mm-hmm.
also saying yes to new directions or opportunities that you like to investigate and integrate now. So in that way, I see soul retrieval as a very good thing.
Yes. Very, very good thing. We are running out of time. You know what? I'm booking into October, but I would love to. I have the best conversations. I hope you guys all enjoyed the conversation because the thing is, and I know you work from a place with spirit. I know I do before every show. I just connect and say, okay, spirit, where are we going with this conversation? And I'm so grateful that you shared all of this with us and the knowledge. Like I said, no pressure, but I'd love to have you back on.
Oh, I
And
would love to be back. It's 2 hours is not enough. Okay, 4 hours now is not enough.
I know, but we could talk forever. And people asking questions, you guys, the comments, the questions, and hopefully you found this helpful because we loved when you're here and you guys are able to engage. Now, where can people buy your book? Get those meditations, to either the free ones or to buy them. How can they get a hold of you? Anything you got coming up, Marzcia? Anything?
Yeah. So the book can be bought everywhere in online stores, and it's you can go into your bookstore and say order this book, and I
Okay.
would love to do. I would love if you did that. You can buy it online everywhere, Amazon, and for the healing meditations, go into my website marzcia.com.
Mhm.
Because there I have a lot of free healing meditations that have been using myself, uh, doing my spiritual awakening and my personal development. And of course, there is some for sale that are also in connected with this book. So there is inner child work, there is epigenetic work, there is karmic work, and there's explanation of trauma and soul retrieval and everything. So please enjoy the book if you buy it.
Well, I love that. You guys stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, Dolly Saffron and Saffron, I should say, not saffron, like the spice saffron, and Preston Dennett are coming up next with the Light Gate. I'm going to read everybody saying great show. Sally says, thank you both for a really lovely, insightful evening night. And nice to meeting everybody in the chat. And I recommend you guys buy Marzcia's book. It's filled with amazing tools. And I agree. Also, I want to let you know, first of all, I want to thank Carnation, because I just found out recently that Mondays are Carnation Mondays on UFO Paranormal and United Public Radio Network. So thank you for sponsoring my shows and all the shows on Mondays. If you ever want to get a hold of me, I do psychic readings, I do crystal Reiki, I do Akashic Records, and I do spiritual teaching and mentoring. You can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock, or any social media platform. It's under Lorilei Potvin or The Angel Rock. As I mentioned earlier, I am working on a course. We are meeting tomorrow, actually. Leanne Clark, who I call the Crystal Wizardress. She's actually the Crystal Architect on Instagram and Facebook. But we hope to have it out in the fall, and hopefully I'll have a domain name by then.
Very good.
I have two groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, the Angel Rocker Tribe for all things spiritual. So I pre-recorded a show for the Paranormal Heart tomorrow. I'm not sure what time it's on, with Kat Ward here on UPRN. So we had a lovely paranormal conversation. And I just found out before I went live, I believe I'm joining Joe on UFO Undercover on Wednesday night with Jay McNicholas. And I don't know if Carrie Lynn's coming or not. I heard she was invited, so it should be fun. And we will be back on Thursday. You guys are going to get sick of me. Thursday with Beneath the Hollow Moon with Carrie Lynn, Shellhorn, and myself, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're talking about the Chris Watts house and the paranormal activity and many spooky things like that. Love you all. Thank you, Marzcia. Hang on one sec.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you very much.
You'll see her again.
So good.